What is happening, awesome people of the interwebs?
Hey guys.
This is a first person to come to the Christian Buddy studio. Welcome to another episode of the Christian Buddy Show. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone on the Christian Buddy Show. Excited to be here today.
So let's just jump straight into today's show. And we're going to put Anthony under a bit of pressure here. We're going to start off today's segment with a bit of rapid fire questions. How you feeling? You feel a bit of pressure, a bit of sweat.
Here we go. They're coming at me.
You're coming at you. All right.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Would you rather have more time or more money?
Time.
You just passed the test. Thank you for
Yes.
and that's going to be the end of the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. Where's my prize?
All right. So people are watching. Like, people are curious. People want to know who the real Anthony Gerej is.
Of course, many do.
Many do.
Yeah. They ask me. I walk across the street every day. Anthony, what's going on?
I love it, man. And for those people that want to know you a bit more intimately, a bit more personally,
Of course.
speak to the camera. Like, what's happening? What's going on? Who are you as a person? What's going on in your life right now?
No, let's do it. I mean, name's Anthony, of course. I play a lot of tennis, so when people see me, the first thing they say is, "Man, is that Novak Djokovic right there?" And just for today, not just for today, but I thought I'd wear it for today. I've actually got Novak shirt, so we'd see what it looks like.
Jeez, man.
I don't know if you noticed when I came in, but I've got the shoes as well. I don't know. I'll give a little bit of a sneak preview there. Oh, there's the shoes.
These are the Asics.
Yeah.
Is that from Djokovic himself? Did you actually get it from Djokovic himself? Or?
Yeah, I rode over there on my bike and no, I got it from Lacoste, store in the city. And I was like, all right, let's get dressed up. Let's actually get Novak out. Anthony Novak.
Can you give us an impersonation of Novak Djokovic?
I've tried, and it sounds like a Swedish man, I think. So I'm not going to give it a go because it sounds terrible.
It sounds terrible.
I am terrible with impersonations. But yes. That's one other thing about me, terrible with impersonations, so you know.
That's all good. All right. Well, let's flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Look, I'm curious to hear about your veganism because that's one thing that you've told me about, and yeah, man. Like, I want you to kind of prove to the people at home that veganism can be done. How are you going with veganism?
I personally, for me, I love it. It's definitely something easy that can be done. It just takes a little bit of, like anything in life, just takes a little bit of hard work to realize how to get there. But like for me, the reason why I became vegan ages ago was because I had terrible acne problems, like terrible on my face, back, neck, everywhere. And eventually just one day I thought, man, I've got to figure out why the hell this is happening. And then I came across a video on YouTube and it said, oily skin is caused by these foods. And I was like, holy crap, my skin's always oily. And apparently, for some people, if you have oily skin, it can cause acne.
Yeah,
Turned out that most of these foods were animal-based. So I was like, oh shit, so let's give it a go. Because I want to see if it actually does anything. It drove me crazy. Like sometimes they're just bleeding and they just won't stop. It's just the worst. So I said, all right, 2 weeks, like just full on veggie. And I've never done it in my life. I'm full on carnivore. And so I gave it a go. Literally a week into it, my skin was so clear. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I just decided from then on.
Straight up, like just down the road, yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, that was the big point to keep on going, because I know as soon as I start eating badly, I'm going to get acne again. So I've got to that sort of pushes me to be on that track. A lot of other people, obviously, it's just up to them. A lot of people are sort of lucky. They might not get acne. They're pretty good with their weight, so they don't really have to worry too much about what they're eating. But deep down, food does a lot to you. But for me, it was the acne.
For sure, man. That's because I mean, veganism gets a bit of a bad rap in society these days. There's a lot of and I think we see these protests in the city. People are obstructing civilization to protest for the animals. So I think in the limelight, veganism. Look, I appreciate their idea, but I think they're going about it maybe a bit too in the wrong way, in an aggressive way. But I definitely see the health benefits of veganism. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, no, of course. I think when everyone becomes vegan, you start learning a little bit more about food, and you go, wow, like, food's actually pretty damn important. And because, when I found out, I was a pretty noob, like diet at first.
Yeah.
I went on so many diets when I was young because I was always pretty overweight. And I didn't even realize when I became vegan that you get iron from green leaves and vegetables.
Yeah.
Like green leafy vegetables, that's where you get your iron from if you don't eat meat.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait, what? Well, I just never knew iron was in green leafy vegetables. Like that simple fact, I just didn't know. And a lot of people would come up to me and go, oh, man, where do you get your iron from? Because you get it from red meat. And then I go, oh, no, you just get it from green leafy vegetables. And they're like, oh, okay, where do you get your protein from? I'm like, bro, not this fucking thing. They're like, now, like, it's just funny that it's kind of like everything you need, like I discovered, is in plants except for vitamin B12. I take tablets regularly to make sure I get my vitamin B12 because it's like important for brain function.
Yeah.
But other than that, every single other vitamin, mineral, nutrient is within plants. And eventually when I got like really into it, I was like one of those guys like, bro, if you're not vegan, you're fucking destroying this planet. Like fucking animals are dying. Like what's wrong with all of you people? But then eventually, I think it just happens with everyone because you kind of just discover, oh my God, like the poor animals. It sort of became a bit more ethical for me, like halfway through my journey. But then I realized, all right, no one's right, no one's wrong. We're all just trying to live life. We're all just trying to get through this hellish world.
Yeah, for sure.
And, some people eat because they like to eat what they eat. And some people like to eat because they like to eat what they eat. And that's just how it is in these days, like this day and world. And yeah.
Yeah, right. So, I've heard that before, vitamin B12. And, I mean, what's the idea behind that? It's like no food on the planet Earth has vitamin B12? Or why do we have to supplement vitamin B12?
Well, from my memory, vitamin B12 isn't actually found in
any food at all.
Any food, technically.
I don't know if I believe that.
And the reason why is because vitamin B12 is actually a bacteria that grows in soil. Okay. And the reason why you can get vitamin B12 from meats, eggs, fish, the reason why is because those animals who eat soiled food get that vitamin B12 and it's stored within their body, which is why when you eat just steak or chicken or that sort of stuff, that's going to have some sort of vitamin B12 in it.
Yeah.
But compared to fruits and vegetables, they're in the ground, but all that soil is dusted off and cleaned, so there's no vitamin B12 on there. So technically, vitamin B12 isn't in any food unless it's eaten by an animal and then we eat it. Like if we go out and start eating soil somewhere, there's probably vitamin B12 in it. I think that's how it works. And then we can get that vitamin B12. But no, we're not going to go outside just eating dirt, which is why vitamin B12, you get it from the animals. Yeah.
Cool. What's the typical meal look like for yourself?
A couple of years ago, I was like really into it. Like, come on, we've got to make all these meals. I get crazy into it. I remember I was making like lots of vegan lasagna, pasta, like anything Italian because I love Italian food. I'm Lebanese as well, so I try to make a lot of anything Lebanese, which is like lots of breads. Basically, I freaking love my breads.
Yeah,
man. Okay. But then I found out, breads isn't the best thing for you as well, so I've sort of started to cut back on that. But I eat like lots of pastas. Try to eat as many salads as I can,
Okay.
and as many smoothies as I can as well, or drink as many smoothies as I can. I kind of realized throughout the journey of being vegan, so it's been about 3.5 years now, I kind of realized the big thing was, as long as you eat well, doesn't matter whether you're vegan or not vegan, as long as you eat well and you get the right vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, that's all that matters.
Yeah, right.
That's all that matters. And I kind of realized that when I became vegan. It doesn't matter whether you're vegan or not, as long as you just get those things and you're healthy. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And yeah, it's a good point to highlight just general well-being, just general health. And let's switch gears a little bit, and I want to kind of get to know the real Anthony here. I want to,
of course, dig
back into your past, and I want to dig back into your personal training.
Personal, yeah, okay.
Personal training, yeah, man, because I've kind of hit a crossroads in my life, and I was working in corporate world, and I'm not going to lie, I hate it. Yeah. Sitting down all day.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm sure you're of the same opinion as well. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
So what's it like being in the fitness world? What you said, you mentioned before that it's a crazy world. I want you.
Yes, it is.
Take me down a journey. What's this?
Okay, so I mean, a few years ago, I was getting really into fitness. I was loving it. This is before I was vegan. So essentially, while I was getting really fit, I was doing marathon running, essentially. And one day, I literally got a kilo of minced meat, cooked it, and just got some Lebanese bread or some pita bread and just ate it all. And that's how much I was training. Like, I was actually training, I think I was running about 150 kilometers a week.
What? 150 Ks?
150 Ks a week I was running. So I think I did like,
that's intense,
maybe 30 to 40 K runs a week. And then the rest of the days were like 5-10 Ks. So I was at the point where I was pretty damn fit. Right. And then I was always into diets. I was just finding out, what's the best food, all that sort of stuff. If you ask my mum and dad, I've just been on diets my whole entire life. Since I came out of the womb. What am I eating?
Buddy.
What's good? But
fully portioned meal when you come out of the womb. Like.
I was always into diets. I was always into exercise, getting fit, because I was quite overweight when I was young, and all the way throughout high school and things like that. And then I just wanted to find out, how do you get fit? How do you lose weight? Like, do you fast just constantly? Do you eat just little things throughout the day? Do you just eat one meal and then just leave it for the rest? Like, all this shit, like, was just so much for my brain that I was like, oh, you know what? I want to try and become a personal trainer. And so for a few years, I tried to do some self-study on nutrition, fitness, all that sort of stuff. And then eventually became a personal trainer at Vision Personal Training in Hawthorne. Okay. Actually, to be entirely honest, like, the place is really good. The personal trainers take their clients on a journey with them, and they really try to help you. A bit expensive. I'm pretty sure it was really expensive. I actually wasn't sure what the price was for the customers, as long as I was getting paid. But essentially, the thing they did was not just teach them, this is how you do exercises, but this is how you eat. This is how your life should be moved towards a more healthier.
It was like a holistic, like a lifestyle sort of approach.
Yeah, exactly. But we weren't the ones to go up to them and say, all right, this is what your lifestyle should be like. They would come in and say, I want to be more like this. We'd say, all right, if you want to be more like that, we can show you and, move you into the direction. And then they'd go there just by themselves. So it was a great place. And I learned so much there, and I still carry a lot of the stuff I learned from there today. But the only problem was I had like no time in my life at all. And when I mean like no time, I was absolutely drained. I lived a little bit away from Hawthorne. I was in Greensborough. at this time. But so it was a little bit of a drive there and back home. But essentially, most of my days was getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Jesus.
Doing a whole day at work because there was no way on my breaks I'm going to go all the way to Greensboro and back. Playing tennis during the day because I obviously love tennis. Eating just the portioned foods that, I was eating at that time. And it was so mentally draining. A lot of the guys there did really well to focus and, make sure they did it. They made sure that their personal life was in order, their work life was in order, and they had a good life balance. But for me at that time, there were so many things that I wanted to do outside of work and I couldn't do it. One of the things was hanging out with friends. I couldn't hang out with friends anymore.
Yeah, that's a massive part.
It was crazy.
It's a big part of life, isn't it? Having those healthy relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the biggest part for me. So when I became a personal trainer, it was just the friendships that I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And also I had a big crush on my now girlfriend, Nicole. Couldn't ask her out because I'm there 24/7. Sometimes I would literally 4 a.m. in the morning until 9 p.m. at night and then do the same thing the next day. And then Sundays were my only day off. And then on that day off, I'm not going to go out and see friends and want to sleep.
So it's a full-time gig. It's you're kind of burning the candle at both ends in a sense. Yeah. You're really pushing So you had to acquire a Cert 3, Cert 4 in fitness, was it?
I did. So I worked as a membership consultant at Bulleen Health and Fitness. And during that time, I just did my Cert 3 and Cert 4 while working there.
Okay. So, and how long did it take you to complete the Cert 3 and Cert 4?
I think it was just a year.
Just a year?
Actually, just a year. So you just did, essentially it's just a booklet with all this stuff you've got to learn, study. And then once you do those 2 booklets, or 4 booklets actually, they go and look through. I think they test you a little bit from my memory. And then at the end, they give you the Cert 3 and Cert 4.
Cool.
Yeah, which was nice. It was nice I actually had a job at a gym while doing it to actually learn some stuff while I was there. So that was good. But yeah, I think the big thing is if anyone is ever interested in personal training, like yourself, like you're really interested in it.
Yeah.
Number one, make sure you're close to where you work.
Sure.
Because that way...
There's always a convenience thing.
Yes,
yeah.
There's always convenience, 100%. And that way, the thing is, because when you start out, you might have 2 hours during the day where there's just nothing happening. And you don't want to drive half an hour home and then half an hour back to have the rest of something like that, right? And I think another thing is make sure that you've got strong relationships with everyone that you know.
Okay.
Yeah. And I recommend this one as well. You don't have to go for it. But if you haven't got a strong relationship yet and you want to be into a romantic relationship, I feel like it's better to start a romantic relationship before personal training than getting on. Because otherwise, for example, I'm doing Restringing at the moment now, so I have my own little business.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I'm there just stringing at home, so it's very convenient. But Nicole, my beautiful girlfriend, is in the other room, and I'm just there the whole time stringing, doing work, messaging people, and I don't give her as much time as I probably should. And if we weren't in a long-term relationship at the moment, and we didn't live together, it's hard to start out as a personal trainer with so many hours. It's so many hours, and you trying to work up that business and do all that stuff, and then on the side have a relationship. Honestly, it was a killer, which is why I never asked out Nicole when I was a personal trainer. I had no time. That's the recommendation. Get romantically involved first, or it'll take you maybe a year or 2 to really build up and get your life together while you're personal training. And then once you've done that, then probably get involved in a personal relationship. But, romantic relationship, not personal relationship.
Thanks for the life coaching advice. And I heard you also qualified in a life coach as well.
I didn't qualify. I didn't qualify as one, but for a long time I did a lot of self-study on, I
Yeah.
suppose, I mean, you can call it life coaching, but I suppose just living a more focused life inside your head.
Yeah.
If that sort of makes sense. So try not to let small little things stress you out.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, it's the small little things that stress you out these days.
And speaking of stress, how do you deal with overwhelm and anxiety or stress, or how do you deal with these things?
Okay. Well, a few people that I know, I won't name names, do suffer from like anxiety and stress, like quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a thing. Just all of a sudden, one thing happens and you're just stressing for the whole day. Even if it's something at work, you make a mistake at work and you're just stressing because you think, oh, my boss is going to tell me off. He's going to do this today. He's going to do that. Like, honestly, like stress and anxiety are just killers. Like in this day and age, especially like at work and all that sort of stuff. When I was younger, I did used to stress and get anxious quite a bit. Even though I was a pretty extroverted guy. But eventually one day I sort of just said to myself, all right, we've got to move into something different. Like, I can't keep on stressing and be crazy my whole entire, because, let's just say you go to work one day and let's just say you do something wrong, but your boss doesn't know. But in the back of your mind, you're stressing the whole 24 hours until you meet your boss the next day because you're going to come into work, he's going to find out. And you're stressing like crazy, like, oh man, he's going to find out. Am I going to get fired, or he's going to be angry at me?
But is that more it sounds like what you're saying is like, is that because you've done the wrong thing, or is that because maybe you've done something and you're not? I mean, why would you stress out? If you've done the right thing, you shouldn't be stressing out.
I mean, let's say it's the wrong thing. Right. Let's say it's the wrong thing, or let's just say you've done the right thing, but the person above you didn't want you to do that right thing. Either scenario, stress just lives in your life so much, and it's ridiculous how much it can affect your mental mind. And I absolutely hated it. And it was just the little things, even if it's just going on a diet. Being on a diet causes you so much stress and anxiety. It's like, oh, man, I've got to eat at this time. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Even if it's just hoping that people like you as a person, and just stressing, oh, man, I didn't do a good job on Kristian's podcast today. Is he ever going to invite me back?
Why would you do this?
No, but like stuff like just small little things. It's amazing how much that can affect people.
The mind is, it's a very, if you don't utilize it right, it can eat you alive almost.
Exactly.
You can be in a negative spiral.
Yeah. Like I remember one of the worst things was I was a staffing manager for an events agency before I started Restringing. And I remember that there was so much work I had to do that whenever I get out to play tennis, my mind would be anxious and stressed because I'm like, I've got all this work to do when I get home, and I can't enjoy myself while I'm playing sport. I can't enjoy myself when I'm out with friends. Like all of this stuff, when I'm meant to be relaxing, it's
in the back of your
the back of your mind. And it's such an issue these days. But like for me, the way I learned to deal with it, with stress and anxiety and how to control that, it was a lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong. It was a lot of hard work to get strong up here. Essentially, it was just years and years and years. I don't know, probably about 4 years total. It was about 4 years of me working hard on it. So like, for example, if something happened, whether it's at work, whether it's personal life, whether someone thought I was a bit of a weirdo or didn't like me, I had to constantly say to myself, like give myself positive, not positive reinforcement, because I don't really like positive reinforcement, but say things to myself so I believe it. So for example, let's just say I meet someone who I've never met before, and then I realize, oh shit, I called him by the wrong name. He probably thought.
So that is a common. That is a common issue.
Let's just say I said something stupid. Said something stupid to him, and then the whole night I'm sort of thinking of that, like things like that. It can be worse. It can be worse things. It can be less worse.
It's like when you call Harry Barry or something. It's
exactly. Or when you try to say someone's name, like it's like let's just say it's Taylor or it's Fraser or so. Oh, you don't know what their name is. It's like, hey, how you going? When you don't know their name, you just and especially when you don't know someone's name and it's been so long.
Has that ever worked though?
Yes, I mean it's worked to me a few times. But when you don't know someone's name and you just refer to them as mate. Yeah. Hey mate, how you doing? Yeah. But you never say their name.
No,
100%. So man, remembering people's names. But yeah, like if, for example, things like that. If you're in a conversation or you're meeting someone, you're doing something, and you've done something wrong and you start to stress about it. For me, for about 4 years, I always said to myself, as soon as I start to get stressed or anxious, I said to myself, man, you've got an amazing life. Like, you should be so damn grateful because there's people out there that are definitely don't have what I have. Be so grateful because if the guy turns around and says, oh, you didn't know my name's Barry. Like, that's it. Like, there's no...
The mind kind of, it makes it worse than what it really is in real life.
And sometimes at work, I'll do something wrong and I'll go, holy shit. And I'll spend like a day or so stressing about it. And then I tell my boss, mate, okay, I made this mistake. Or I wouldn't even tell him. He'd actually come over to me and say, oh, mate, I noticed that you did this wrong. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, he noticed. Damn. He goes, well, next time just do this. I'm like, oh. So I was stressing for hours on end about nothing. And and in the end, he just goes, oh, no, it's fine, mate. Let's fix it up and let's do something. I feel like stress and anxiety come from fear of something bad happening in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Would you also say that you're not present? You're not in the moment as well. You're kind of in this future state. You're thinking of the future too much.
Yeah, very true. I feel like a lot of people are worrying what's going to happen instead of just, I mean, I suppose you can say living in the moment. That cliche, come on, live in the moment. Don't worry about that. Like, just focus on what you're going to focus on and don't worry about anything else. Like, sometimes, Nicole might be stressing out about something, but, we have to go out and do something. It's like, let's just forget whatever is going on. Who cares if we haven't paid rent? Who cares if we don't have money? Who cares if, whatever's going to happen in our lives? And let's go shopping to get groceries. Like things like that, like all
simple things,
simple things, like things will just come up in your life, and in your normal day-to-day things, you'll just start stressing about them. It's like, who cares about that? Let's just go out and do what we need to do in our normal lives. But yeah, it took me about 4 years of constantly saying to myself that be grateful. Just be grateful and I feel like for a lot of like famous people as well. I don't know. You've heard of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Yeah,
of course.
Actually, who you? No, I know.
Even Novak Djokovic as well talks about it a lot. Just being grateful and not worrying about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen. Just being grateful that where you are now. Just be grateful that you're there.
For sure.
If anything bad happens to me, let's just say I go home after this podcast and I'm like, oh shit, man, I shouldn't have said, something during that podcast. Man,
who cares?
Yeah, like who else gets to go or be invited on a podcast?
That's it. Yeah.
So I'm grateful to be here. It's that sort of stuff.
You're almost flipping your own mind, and you're almost kind of
tricking
yourself into a more positive.
Exactly.
More positive mindset. Yeah.
But it took me 4 years to actually get to the point where I am now, where I'm like a pretty casual dude.
Do you reflect? Do you ever write things down, or maybe on your notes on your phone, or you write things? Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happened in my past that hurtful memories. Everyone's got hurtful
Yeah.
memories from the past.
Mm.
About a year ago, I started getting into like meditation.
Wow,
and stuff.
cool, man.
Not like I sit there every day for 10 minutes and do meditation. Whoever does that, they're amazing, because I can't do it. But I try to, as much as I can. If a hurtful memory comes up, it just appears from nowhere, from my childhood or high school, whatever it is, I sit there and I focus on it, and I just accept that it's happened. Accepting is something that's extremely hard to learn, to know that something hurtful happened to you, and to learn how to accept it is probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things you ever have to do. But as soon as you learn how to accept something that you don't like that has happened to you, or even perhaps going to happen to you, like you've got to do something that you don't want to do, accepting it and just moving forward, just go, all right, it happened, and when you realize, for me, when I accept it, it kind of feels like it floods me, and I go, okay, you kind of feel like a wave just passes through. Yeah, relief. Yeah, that's probably like it. Like you just sort of, and it sort of just lets, it's still there, but it sort of just lets go. But that took me like a year to sort of actually learn how to actually accept and let go of things. Like practice, like every day, think if a bad thought comes in, all right, accept it. For the first few months, I couldn't really accept it. I was still pretty angry about a few things. But yeah, if you get into acceptance,
it's a good thing, right?
It's a good thing. Oh, it's an amazing thing. So yeah,
I want to flip the script again, and we're going to go into a bit of a controversial topic, bit of something out of left wing here. So hope you're bearing with me here at the moment, and I want to introduce the topic pornography.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So maybe it's a bit of a taboo subject, but I think, and maybe, we're having a giggle, having a chuckle, but I think I'm having a chuckle as well. But I think, what's your opinion on pornography as a male, as a person that wants to be the best version of themselves? We're tricked. We love the dopamine hit. I think people love to, I think we're all sexual beings. I think we're all, it's like a biological urge, right? But yeah. I personally don't. I try and refrain from it. But I like to. I'm curious to hear your opinion on it.
No, I've got an opinion. Look, if there's a guy on Earth that says he hasn't watched pornography, he's a liar.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly,
to that. Cheers.
Seriously, if there's one guy on Earth that says, "Oh no, I've never watched pornography," he's absolutely lying. I think, for everyone, look, pornography is it's kind of just a natural thing, because you're attracted to the opposite sex or same sex, whatever
preference you have.
Yeah. And when you're attracted to something, you want to see more of it. This is not the same thing as pornography, but we love tennis.
Yeah,
we love tennis so much that we'll go on YouTube and just watch tennis because we love it so much. It's like, oh man, look at Federer go, he's so good. Or look at Nadal, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing, but in a completely different way. And
I like that. I like that method. Yeah.
And sex is such a an addictive thing, because it feels good.
Yeah.
That if you are missing out on something in your life, so you might not be getting the sexual preferences that you want, so you're not getting the right sex that you want, I honestly feel like you'd move to pornography, or you watch pornography to get those fantasies that are in your head, or what you want from sex, from pornography. That's my opinion. I feel like if people don't get something from their relationships, or they're unable to have sex and they want that feeling, I reckon they go into pornography to have that experience that they want.
Yeah, so true, man, so true. And I just kind of recounting from my own experiences. I know that when I've watched pornography, it sends my mind into a very dopamine grabbing. I just want things now, and it really takes me out of the moment because I just want to watch this vision, right?
Of course,
whatever I'm watching at the time,
yeah,
and I just want to do my business, right?
Of course,
and it really takes me out of a present moment of awareness, and it really takes me out of that. And I think that's the most powerful thing. We touched on it before. I think that's the most powerful thing that a human can be in, is that the power of now. And pornography definitely takes me out of the now. It takes me into more of a desire state.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just a desire.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm happy we touched on that, because I think there's no real.
It's an interesting
formal.
subject,
There's no real formal education. I mean, there's internet gurus and people like that, but I think it's good to have these conversations to really.
I mean, me personally, I kind of realized that once I became happier in my life, it was years ago. Once I became happier in my life, the amount of pornography I actually watched decreased like a lot. Once I became happier and once I started to become more, I suppose more positive and more of the guy who I am today, like it just went from this, because I might be unhappy or something, to this, to nothing, because like I've found other things in life that give me, pleasure, not like sexual pleasure. But
I feel it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That give you pleasure, that give you that
meaning,
feeling. Yeah, meaning. Of like, I'm doing something with my life, and I honestly feel like that. If you're going through rough times in your life, and like pornography is a thing in your life, the more you would actually watch. I don't know if that's a scientific fact or anything like that, but I think that's.
It's like a hook. It hooks you in. It
does. 100% does.
And I think you can even make that argument for social media and all these other things. And I think it's good to step away and detox yourself and really...
100%.
Yeah, be with your own thoughts for a little bit.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, and even like touching on like social media and stuff, I think it's such an annoying time, an amazing time to be alive, because like social media is amazing, but at the same time it's ridiculously bad for your mental mind. And
why is it bad?
Have you
Social Dilemma?
I have forgotten the documentary on Netflix. There's a documentary on Netflix.
That's all right. I don't. But, no, that's all right. I want your opinion. Why do you think it's Dr. Anthony? Why do you think it's bad? Like, I don't care about the.
You don't care about the documentary.
I don't care about. I don't care about the papers. I don't care about. I want your unique perspective on this.
I honestly think social media is great. Don't get me wrong, but it's bad for the reason, and this is me personally, that it wastes time. And once you get older, like I've actually only just started to find this out. I knew it, but I'm only just starting to realize it, that time, like you just never get it back. And we all know that. We all know that you never get time back. But I seriously feel like, because this only happened to me about like a couple of months ago, I finally realized, felt it. Like, shit, I'm not getting any of that time back. I don't know if anyone out here feels the same thing. Chat away on the comments below.
Yeah, let's put it in a comment, guys. You watching that? Put it in a comment. You got a question? Come on, man. What's happening here?
I'm sure everyone will eventually go through one point in their life when they actually feel, oh, holy shit. Like, I'm not going to get that time back. And then all of a sudden, you'll just start to notice things differently. Because now, let's just say I spend 15 minutes scrolling through Facebook, like a day. Or sometimes even an hour, even on YouTube as well, because it can sit there for freaking hours on YouTube. Or I can anyway, I don't know about you. And then all of a sudden, you kind of just realize, like, I could have done like
so much more with my day, so much.
Yeah. Like, man, I could have gone out for a run. I hate running, but you could have gone out for a run.
You could have, you could have used that time to do something more. Like, for sure.
I mean, there's a lot of cyberbullying and like other like negative things to do with it as well. But my big thing with it is just time. Like just the waste of time I spend on it. Like I use social media for my like tennis restringing business, of course. But once I spend 10, 15 minutes on it a day, I try to just shut it off as much as I can. I'm not doing it yet. Like it's still like more than half an hour a day, which is bad because it takes up so much time.
For sure. It's not an easy vice to completely remove yourself from, because you see family, you see friends, they're posting pictures of their dogs, and it's like, I want to get involved in this,
Exactly.
I want to do this, and but that's the like behind that picture is an algorithm, that's kind of tracking what you're doing, how you're doing it, and they're sending out all those social cues to keep you longer on there. But look, it's not all negative. I think it's as you said, I think it's good that that we're mindful of our usage, and then we can direct ourselves into a different pathway. That's fine. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, when we were talking about pornography before, and you have that dopamine hit from it. People might not agree with this, but I feel like social media, in a way, is kind of the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
Because as soon as you post something and one person likes it, you honestly get that dopamine hit. Oh, yes, one person's liked it. Oh, yes, another one.
Social validation.
Another one. And it's amazing how just like this day and age, how being socially acceptable is important. Like, I've got to be accepted by everyone. That's what's important to me. And I feel that's a big thing this day and age. And social media, that's another negative thing. Like, it makes that I've got to be liked by everyone. Like, if someone doesn't like my post, bro, did you see my post on the weekend? Yeah, I did. I don't think you liked it, mate.
Yeah.
Well, don't you like me? But like that sort of stuff. And look, that's the world we live in.
That's the world.
And I think everyone's just going to be noticeable of it, and that's it. Yeah.
For sure, man. And tell us about your tennis restringing. So, for those of you that are watching now, you're listening to this maybe in the future sometime, and Anthony, you've got your own restringing. Yeah. How did you get involved in that? Because I know you're a fan of tennis, but how did you get involved in that?
Well, I think it was like 3 years ago, I realized, and you'd know this too, anyone out there who plays tennis would know this, that when you restring a racket, or you get a racket restrung, on average, like everywhere you go, like a tennis shop will cost you minimum $50.
Okay.
To get it restrung.
Yeah.
Right? $50. And $50 is a lot of money, especially if you're restringing 2 rackets. So that's $100 each time you're going, because most people who play more competitively, or a lot, they have 2 rackets. As soon as they both break, you head in and you get them restrung. That's $100. $100. If you play a lot, I remember I was playing so much, I was breaking them both fortnightly, because I was playing like 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
And every fortnight, $100. $100. I don't know what 100 times. What is it?
So it's like
a lot.
$200 a month. 200. It's
times
like
12.
$200. So that's 2,400.
Yeah.
No,
that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
It adds up. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And I was like, "Fuck, man! I'm spending so much money." And if you think of it like that, and that's how much you're playing, I never played at a pro level. Like just amateur.
But still, like
level.
you're still
like
competitive, and you're still
yeah, and you play a lot. You're spending $2,000, depending on how much you break strings, of course. But you can spend $2,000 on strings
per year.
Yeah. Obviously, for most people who play a lot, want to get into tournaments, it's like a lot lower, maybe just 1,000 average. But $1,000 per year on strings is a lot. And then you got to buy shoes, you got to buy clothes, you got to buy memberships, you got to buy balls. You spend so much freaking money on balls. There's so much stuff. Regrips on the racket, you got to spend money on regrips, the vibration dampeners that you put in the strings. There's so much money.
It's a rich man's game.
It's a rich man's game. It is and if you're not good enough to get sponsored or anything like that, or if your family isn't rich, it's a hell of a sport. Like, it is a hell of a sport to be a part of, just because of how much money it's. So anyway, when I recently quit my job, desk job, basically, I think it was about 2 months ago. It was a great job, but I wanted to do more, like something different, something that I love. I was actually going to try and become a police officer.
Wow.
But I was waiting too long to hear back from them. I'm actually still waiting to hear back from them. So you guys, please get back to me.
So if we're awaiting the application.
Yes, exactly. Because they said they wrote an email back. We'll get back to you. Anyway, I decided, during this time, I'm going to do some restringing. So 3 years before, one of my really best friends, his name's Elu, he taught me how to restring. And he had this, it's like an older type of machine where you tie the string onto this weight that falls down.
Yeah, the drop weight.
The drop weight.
Yeah.
And it falls down and tied to the string. And so for about 3 years, I used this drop weight machine. And it took me about, on average, because I was pretty slow at it, it took me about an hour to an hour and a half to do one racket. One racket, which is crazy. Let's have a look at the picture. Yeah, no, let's get it up.
Let's, we don't want to do that.
Maybe do tennis restringing, something like that. There we go.
Stringer.
So, that's...
So this is the type of...
so that's what it looks like there. And for me, it took ages to get good at using this. Better and better and faster and faster. My fastest time was an hour. An hour for a racket is a long time. But eventually, I just got better and better. And when I quit my job, I actually had one of these and it broke. Shit, what am I going to do? Because I can't restring my own rackets. Restring your own rackets is so much cheaper. For example, you pay $50 to get your racket restrung from somewhere else. If you buy your own reel and you do it for yourself, on average, I'm pretty sure it's $10 less per racket.
Sure.
$10 less. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. $10 less per racket. Obviously, it takes time to do it, but $10 less per racket is amazing. So I bought my own reel and stuff, started using that drop weight machine. Broke, unfortunately. And so I went out and I got an automatic machine, which is much faster. And I was like, this is fantastic. And then I just got a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. I was like, you know what? I could, start restringing people's rackets. And then slowly, just little bit by little bit, I was already restringing a few friends' rackets before this, but little bit by little bit, word of mouth just grew. And all of a sudden, I'm working for a coach in Yarra Glen. I might be working for a coach at Ivanhoe Tennis Club.
Good on you, man. That's great.
And then even people coming over to me saying, I'm going to recommend you to all the guys in my club. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And
that's great.
I've only been doing the actual business side of things for about just over a month.
Yeah.
And yesterday I did 7 rackets and I was like, how the hell, where did this come from? And 7 rackets is pretty good. I made over $300 yesterday just out of rackets.
Get in that cash money, baby. Get in that cash money, baby.
The aim, even though it's great, doing that, getting money, because I don't have a job.
but you're following your passion, man.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm loving it because it keeps me in tennis. I still get to play as much as I can.
Your heart's close to the your heart beats close to the sport.
And I still get to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I love helping people and saying, what type of strings do you want to use? And I love, because people actually don't, I never realized, but the way topspin happens on a racket is by the strings moving together quicker. And the quicker the strings move together when the ball hits the racket, the quicker the strings move, the more topspin is created. I was like,
I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
And the more grooves and the more slick they are, the faster they'll move, so the more topspin you'll get. Stuff like that. So I try to teach that to all the people that come to me. So instead of me offering them strings or what's the best string, it's like, well, look, I can teach you a few things. Then they can decide their own strings, come back and say, I want these strings. I'll give it to them. And then they can go on a journey experimenting for themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
And I try to do it cheaper. So I do it for $40 a racket for like the, like Luxolon Smart, which is like the best brand you can get. I think normally at places like 55 and above, like Luxolon Smart string, Luxolon strings, branded strings. Like my highest is $40 for them.
Okay.
Which is like $15 per racket.
Yeah.
On average, cheaper is pretty good for people. Even $10 per racket is so much better.
It adds up at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
You save a bit of money. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also try to teach them something as well, so they can go away with like knowledge. Like, so they can learn, like, it's not just paying for the strings and you just get the strings, you're paying for knowledge as well. If anyone out there has heard of Pirelli Tennis, which is in Collingwood, I love the guy there, Lou, who owns the place. Because every time I go in there, I'm trying to make the business like that, like Lou's business, Pirelli. Because every time I go in there, he teaches me something about the strings. Like, he teaches me, use these strings because they're softer and they're better for a tennis elbow. Or use these strings because, they're better for spin. Or like, he teaches me so much. He even taught me that the racket handle that has a smaller handle actually has more of a chance of causing tennis elbow or hurting your arm. And the reason why...
the vibration, is it, or something?
No, the reason why was, I couldn't believe this, you guys at home, like, holy crap. He said that, and you can notice on your arm, the tighter you squeeze on your hand, the muscles here on your forearm actually contract.
Okay.
And the more muscles you use in tennis...
the more chances
of injury, right? Because in tennis... you've got to have like a relaxed arm. You've got to like sort of be barely holding the racket to hit a nice shot, right? And he said that it's not always the case, but it's more likely if you've got a smaller handle and you're trying to, if you've got a smaller handle and your grip size, if I can turn it like that, and the grip size gets smaller, the more these muscles here are contracting already.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm not like they're relaxed, but the more these muscles are contracting, like that. It's not contracted at all. And then move slowly, and the contracting. And that can cause tennis elbow just because you're using muscles that you probably shouldn't be using more of.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel
so
yeah.
Things like that. So Lou was amazing, just teaching me these things. So I was like, all right, I want to go off and try to make my own little business, and I want to be like him. And that's where I am at the moment.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome to hear. It's always good to hear people that are kind of following it, man, just doing it, living it, because there's so many people that talk a big game, but they don't actually execute, and you're executing it. And,
obviously there's times where I'm like, I should have worked harder, like in doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I probably could have done this years ago, and I think a lot of people, everyone has amazing potential to start a business or be a professional athlete or even just be an athlete and have a job and a family on the side or even write a book. Like all that.
It's unlimited. It's unlimited.
Everyone has potential, and if you don't do it straight away, that's fine. Like it took me, because I always said to Nicole, my girlfriend, I want to make a business. I swear to God, like every month I'd make up a new business. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And it never happened, obviously. Like one of my business names years ago was called That Chicken Place. And it was just a place that sold chicken. And everyone will go, let's go to that chicken place. Oh, what chicken place? That chicken place. Oh. And then I'm thinking, I can have a chain called That Beef Place, that salad place, that, this, like all that sort of thing. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a business. It never happened. And then years later, eventually, I love tennis and I eventually found something that I love. And then I finally started making a business, which is great. So now that I'm finally getting started, because it's still starting, I'm finally excited. Like I woke up at 4 a.m. No, 3:30 this morning I woke up because I was just excited to get back to work. I woke up at 3. Like sometimes I wake up like middle of the
I didn't even
night.
know the clock could go that far back, man.
But I'm actually so excited about my work because I love what I do.
That's beautiful, man.
That's I'm just waking up at all hours of the night to be like, I'm not going to stay in here thinking about it. I'm going to get up, just start doing it. And it's just, I've never felt anything like this before in my life. I'm like, this is crazy just to be so
enthusiastic, so passionate. You're just in it. Yeah.
But I've never had that with anything else. Like, when I used to play tennis a lot, I'm like, oh, come on, let's be pro. It was so hard to get out of bed in the morning. To like, fuck, got to get out. And come on, got to go for runs, got to do this. Now, it's not a struggle to get out of bed. I'm like, come on, let's do it. Like, I'm literally dreaming of ideas that can happen. Okay, fuck, that was a great idea. Let's go out there and do it. Like, it's incredible. I'm actually loving it.
Do you think what's the future hold for the tennis restringing? Do you think you'll ever hire some robots that'll like that'll restring for you, or what's the future? What's the future happening here? You know what I mean? Like,
if that happened, if they obviously had robots that could restring, I wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. But if that was the thing, I'd definitely do it. Because surely, definitely like $100,000 for something that just does it automatically.
Dude, I'm sure we're not far off that technology. Give it 10 years, I'm sure we'll be hitting that.
But to be honest, like even if there were robots doing it, I'd actually rather do it myself because it's kind of an art if you can do it well.
For sure. I mean, it's taking away from that. Yeah, for sure.
Because I recently, literally last week, I did a restringing lesson with a man called Sam Chan. I don't know if anyone out there watches this. If you want to do restringing lessons with someone, Sam Chan, CHAN, he has restrung tennis rackets at 17 Grand Slams.
Wow.
17 Grand Slams. And I think he does a lot of work for like qualifying people to get them certified to become like a professional stringer.
Okay.
I think it's called an MRT, a Master Racket Technician. I think from what he said, there's only 2 people in Australia that can actually certify you to become a Master Racket Technician, which is like the highest qualification you can get. And he's one of them. This guy's amazing. He's strung for Federer. He's strung for Karlovic. He's strung for so many, and he's been all over the world. And this guy's amazing, like amazing. He's incredible, and he's I think he's in his 50s or 60s now. But I texted him the other day to be like, mate, I think I've done something wrong. Can you answer this question for me? He's, yeah. And we just got talking. In an hour and a half, he strung 5 rackets.
Yeah, so this guy's
5 rackets.
Yeah, so this guy's like he's like the equivalent of like the black belt. This guy's like the top of. He's like the master racket technician. He's like the dojo master. You go to him at master. Like what's going on here. And he'll. He knows everything.
Like little tips. Because at the moment, my fastest racket is 36 minutes to do a full racket, and so for me, and he did 5 in an hour and a half. Like, what? So this he's incredible. Just the way his fingers move. It's
quick hand. Like he's probably got that muscle memory. He's been 100%. Doing it for maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. Strong fingers
as
well.
Good knots.
Exactly. Oh man, the knots he taught me. They're incredible. All the stuff he taught me was amazing. So I did a lesson with him last Monday. Learned so much. It was incredible. Got a certificate from him as well, which is amazing. So now actually certified, which is great because people ask me, "Oh, are you a certified stringer?" It's like, well, I am now. But not certified by like the USRSA, which is like the qualification for the Master Racket Technician yet. But I'm certified by Sam, which is awesome. And I'd rather be certified by him, to be honest. Cool. But for the future of the business, it's called Tennis North, Restringing on Wheels. So obviously I go up to people's houses, pick up their rackets, restring them, take them back and do that sort of thing if they want, obviously. But the future, the idea is to actually buy a van that's big enough to put the stringing machine in it. So I can go to people's places and just restring that. instead of going forwards, back. But the only thing is, there's a lot of like expenses in that. I don't know whether it's going to be worth it because people might just drop rackets off at my house, and that's better. I don't have to worry about a van. But in the future, we'll see what happens because there's a lot more ideas I've got for it.
There's a lot more ideas, yeah.
But that's one thing I'd love to do. But I feel like it might cost a bit too much expenses-wise. But
I can definitely see the van being an idea. You know, like you maybe even follow the local tournament scene, and you know, you got tournament players coming up to you. Hey, man, I got you recommending strings, and then you got the grips as well there as well. You got the left. You got you know, maybe a few t-shirts in the back there. You know, you just. Maybe if you want, you put a sandwich press in there. You make sandwich. Got a coffee machine where everyone's
like, Djokovic is making coffee. Come on.
I'll have a soy decaf double latte. Thank you. Man. You just like you and then you got your stand, buy one get one free, man. There's the options are unlimited, man. And
exactly.
It all. I think your heart and your mind is in the right place at the moment, and I wish all the best for you in that endeavor.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, man, and that's awesome. It's
thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. And as long as you enjoy what you do, that's all that matters. I'm not making a lot of money at the moment, guys, but I'm loving life. Like, that's just like a big thing that I realized from doing this. I'm not making like barely anything to cover my rent, but I'm loving life more than I ever have just because I'm doing this. And I think people just money gets in the way of a lot of things these days. And because, you know, it's important, obviously, especially when you want to start a family, buy a house, all that sort of stuff. But now I just love what I do. And even if I'm not a rich guy, even if I'm just doing this and I'm just enjoying what I'm doing, that's all that matters to me. So
for sure, man.
Yeah. Other people might be different, obviously.
Yeah, that's what's the word? It's everyone's wired differently, I guess, and
of course,
some people are more attracted to that wealth, materialistic side of things. Other people just want to be happy, and I think at the end of the day, when we're on our deathbed, we're going to reflect, and you know, was I happy with my life? You know, was I doing something? Because there's definitely, you know, I've felt it, man, in my corporate job at the moment. It's a hollow feeling. It's not it's very hollow. It's very, you get to see the people, you get to see their eyes, their emotions when you restring it, their happiness. But working in corporate world, it's just about policies and processes and do I have to follow the rules now? And it's not human, man. It's not human. Dude.
Like, we're not made to sit down, 8-hour days.
8-hour days and like just stare at a screen and
like how long have you been working at a desk?
4 years.
I mean, just imagine 100 years ago thinking that there's going to be a job where every single day you sit down for 8 hours a day to do your work and just doing this.
Just
I'm sure there's people that did news presses and stuff like that, but nothing like this because it was just unhuman. And then now it's like a normal thing.
It's the way that our society. Yeah, it's just the way that we are. I guess I don't know how else to explain it.
100%. Yeah, you'd have a lot of opinions on sitting down at a desk working. I
don't. Look, I've kind of had to really suck it up and really go into it. But now times are changing, and as I said, that's why we're getting into the health and wellness side of things.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So I'm trying to dip my toes into that. So
which would be good. And what's your plans for, or what do you wish to do, future wise?
In 10 years, I just had this vision today. In 10 years' time, I want to have my own gym that has but it's like a wellness studio. So it's it has yoga, Pilates, strength, maybe MMA, maybe in there, and even a coffee place in there.
Oh man, that'd be amazing.
And it's not just a gym; it's a place where you socialize as well. It's hey, Harry, let's go train legs today, and then afterwards we'll grab a coffee. Something like that.
That's nice.
And it's a real social, and everyone's happy. Everyone's everyone's high energy, everyone's, and it's
great.
a real happy place to be.
Yeah. There's a tennis court out the back, yeah.
Man, there's a tennis court. We even got a helipad there as well. We'll fly Federer in to do some pro lessons as well, man. It's all on, man. I mean, these are all dreams, and it's all well and good to have dreams, but sometimes, yeah, man, we need to be grounded. And what's actually, I'm starting again from scratch, pretty much going into health and wellness. I'm starting from scratch because I got no one knows me. I got no experience with working with people and things like that. So I'm excited though. I'm like a little kid in a candy store right now. Yeah.
When you sort of start doing
again,
something that you love,
yeah,
and you're like, man, like, who cares if it doesn't work out? Like, and you learn, while you do it as well. I think that's one of the best things because my life has just been job to job to job to job to job, like different things, and everyone's always said, well, my parents especially, come on, you got to get a full-time job, settle down and buy a house. And I mean, that's not just my parents; that's everyone's parents.
That's the that's the mentality. Yeah, I get you.
But I've learned so much going from job to job to job and meeting so many people that if I hadn't done what I had done, I don't think I'd be able to do my business where I am right now. Because there's so many things that I've learned and so many people that I've met. Like my old boss or manager for my events work, his name's Pete Tompkins. He is one of the most incredible people I've met in my life. He's just so smart. He's so simple and so like to the point on everything that you would look around for things to do and he goes, I'll just do that. And you go, oh shit. Like I didn't
make sense.
I didn't know. Yeah. And he's just got so much life experience. He's taught me so much. And I'm like, thank God. I've moved, and there's been like, he's been the number one guy, but there's been guys like that, like every part of every job I've had, and even just learning from Sam, Restringing, like I learned so much from him, and it's just every person has just been learning from them and taking it for me, and then passing it on, but then using my business and creating something from everything I've learned, and I feel like this is me anyway. I didn't really want to go into a job that was like, it was a job. And it was sort of just that one thing. Like for one of the reasons why I wanted to join the police force was because the amount of experience you can get. Like you can go out there and do so many things in the police force. And that was one of the things that attracted me. Like communication wise, even just learning how to hold a gun, like learning how to talk to people and settling them down, combat, fitness. There's so many things you can learn, which is why I was actually interested in that job. And I never wanted to go into a job where it was just one thing. Like, and that, I mean, it could be like, I'll just say real estate agent. You can do a lot as a real estate agent, but in the end, selling houses. If you love that, 100%, that's go for it. Because everyone will eventually end up in a job where it's just that job. Like for me, it's restringing, nothing else. But for 5 or 6 years of my life, I went from job to job to job to job to job, and I've learned so much. Instead of just going into a job and that job, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm just learning from that job. Well, what I wanted to do was learn from this job and then learn from that one and then learn from this one. And then, what can I learn from that one? I'll do that. I'll do that one. And then the people you meet. Yeah. And then you just have more friends. You have more relationships with people. And that's what I've loved doing, just experiencing as much as I can.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing, man.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not everyone's cup of tea to go from job to job to job. Because, even having just a full-time job is fantastic because you're financially secure.
Yeah, you're stable.
Because a long time I wanted that. I was like, oh man, like I'm just not making any money. I don't have a house. What am I doing with my life? But then I sort of realized, holy crap, man! Like I've learned so much. I've met so many people. I've got a great life. I've done so much. Like the events I've worked at have just been incredible, and even just working at the Australian Open, the events, and just going backstage in places like stuff like that. It's like, man, I never would have done that like in another job. Like, yeah,
it's a trade-off. It's definitely a trade-off. I think work 10, 15 years in corporate life to then enjoy your life later, or you can enjoy your life now and try and make the most of it. Yeah, I think there's a trade-off to be had. And who's to say that you could be highly successful in this tennis stringing business? You know, you could be making,
fingers crossed.
You could be making heaps of money per month. If you've got the passion, you've got the work ethic, I'm sure you can make it happen. And yeah, you hear all these success stories of people coming through, rising. You know, they're living off the street, and then all of a sudden, some homeless man has an invention idea, and he's the next Mark Zuckerberg. You know, it's possible, crazy. Man. It's and you almost have to have a dreamer mindset. I mean, you almost have to believe the dream so much that you can actually feel it. You know,
100%. And the thing is, though, like, I mean, I'm still jealous. Maybe not too jealous anymore, but I was really jealous of people that went out of high school, knew what they wanted to do.
And get that straight, yeah.
And, went to uni, did the degree, and then do what they want to do. Like, my best friend was an optometrist. He's still doing optometry. But that's what he wanted to do. And he went out there and became an optometrist.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm like, for a long time, I was actually jealous of it. Because I'm like, man, I wish I actually knew what I wanted to do so I can be like that. Because he was happy doing it for a long time. And now he's sort of getting to an area where he's like, oh, you know what? I think I want to do something else. And now he's still doing optometry, but he sort of wants to move into another area.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, I freaking wish that could have been me. Like, I've loved what I've done, job to job.
But do you really, though? Do you really? I mean...
Wait, which one?
So you really wish that was you? I mean...
Yeah. Like, honestly, if I was...
You wanted more, I guess...
Like, now I don't wish that was me. But back then, when I saw him finish uni, get a job, I was like, man, I wish... Not for optometry.
But along those lines, I get that there's a structure and it's an expected result. You know what's happening. You know what's going to be going on.
Yeah, it's like, I wish I came out of uni, full-time job, something I liked. That was it. I wish that would have been me, but it wasn't. Because I didn't love anything at that point.
But you know what, man? Sometimes you got to live in a bit of chaos. Sometimes you got to live, I think, living in a bit of uncertainty is, man, I did this job for 4 years and I knew what each day, 8 hours, check in, check out. Dude, man, my brain's, I'm ground down. I'm doing the same thing. I'm a robot, dude. Like,
100%.
Man, give me some chaos. Give me a little bit of uncertainty and give me responsibility. I'll take that. I'll eat that alive. You know, I want to feel that this is on my shoulders now. Now it's up to me to make this work.
You're not just a robot.
I'm not just a robot punching in, punching out, listening to some boss that maybe he drinks too much. I don't know, drinks too much or whatever. Red Bull. Something, you know, and he's not a healthy guy.
Yeah,
you know, and
100%.
It's not that I don't. I'll still respect my boss, you know. But
of course, 100%. But it gets to a point.
It gets to a point where, man, you just,
and it's like, it's hard, but anyone who is able to figure out what they love earlier in life and get straight into it, like, kudos. Cause it's. Like,
it's so hard to figure out what you want to do. Like, how do you figure out what you want to do?
Exactly. And they might not do that for the rest of their lives, but good on them for getting into something that they like or love. Like, it's hard. It's hard. And it took me just until now to start doing it. So,
no, it's awesome, dude.
Anyway, getting there.
No, that's awesome, dude, and kind of running out of things to say now at the moment. What's so where you living at? Where you like you? So you're living with your? Can I ask you that question? Is that all right?
My missus?
Yeah, you're living with your missus.
Of course I am.
Yeah, living with your missus.
Yeah, my missus. Yeah.
Okay.
In Ivanhoe.
In Ivanhoe.
That's where the restringing business is. In my bedroom.
In your bedroom. All right.
That's where it is. That's where the magic happens.
That's where the magic
In the
happens.
spare bedroom.
In a spare bedroom. All right.
Obviously.
All right. Cool, man. We have to make that clear. You know, just have to make that very, very clear. All right.
Imagine waking up every morning.
Get that stringing machine there.
Yeah. Stringing in front of Nicole. Beep. It beeps as it pulls the thing. And
I was thinking someone died on the hospital table.
Just imagine that. What the hell's going on? Morning. Just string. But yeah. So do it at home.
Do it at home.
Fingers crossed I'll be able to get out and buy a shotgun.
Get on the road. Yeah, get on the road.
That'd be great. That'd be something amazing if I could do that.
Ideal.
Fingers crossed. But yes, now live with my missus. Yes.
That must have been a pretty bold move, a very leap of faith. Would you say it's a leap? Or maybe you already, I don't know. What's your take on that, moving in with your missus? I mean, I'm sure you put a bit of thought into that decision. Yeah, but
to be honest, no.
No, okay. So, there you go. Prove me wrong. All right.
I put no thought into it. I was like, I just want to get at my parents' place.
Yeah, for sure.
And, rent's expensive. So, half. But no, honestly, for me, it wasn't like a bold move. I knew I loved her. She loved me. And I think it was like after a year and a half, which normally, like, you wait maybe, I don't really know when people move in together anymore. Like, some people's after like a few months, maybe, I don't know. But we waited like a year and a half. Nicole stresses about a lot of stuff. And she's like, I don't know, we'll move in together. And then one day we just, she brought it up. It's like, do you want to move in together? I'm like, all right.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, then we moved in together. And it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
What's not easy?
Relationships.
Okay.
Bloody hard work. Because I know you're single at the moment.
Yeah.
I think, what's your thoughts on, and I'll tell you a bit of what I've experienced. Sure. What do you think some difficulties of being in a long-term relationship would be?
Sacrifice.
Yep.
Yeah, you definitely have to sacrifice maybe a few things of what you like to, for the relationship, right? There are negatives, but I think the positive, if you're with someone that you align with, then the positives will outweigh the negatives.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
It takes time.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like 100%, like those things, important. One of the biggest things for me was making sure she didn't eat my food. Because, and not that she eats a lot, but like I buy something, like, because I love watermelon or something like that. And sometimes, I get the watermelon thinking, this watermelon's for me. And I'll start cutting it up at home. She's like, can I have a slice? And I was, excuse me, this is I didn't say that, but I give her a slice. But like things like that. It's like, man, I want my food. That sort of things like that. Or fucking, man, sleeping in bed. Man, wake up. The covers are on her bed. They're falling off that side of the bed. And I can't get to sleep because I'm cold. I try to wrestle them away. And then she wakes up. And then, man, getting to sleep in bed is freaking ridiculous. I love long showers. I fucking love long showers. That's like the best part of my day, I reckon. Long showers. Just stand there.
Stand there.
Man. Like, and apparently, I don't know, I heard a long time ago, apparently you have like deep thoughts just when you're in like the shower. Like when you're in water, you have like...
Do you ever sing in the shower?
No, I never sing. I used to play it because I used to think I was a good singer. Turns out I wasn't, so I stopped that.
Can you give us a sample? The audience, we've got one person watching at the moment. Can you give us a bit of a sample, a bit of Michael Bublé or
what's Michael Bublé's song?
Shit, man, I don't know why that came to my mind.
Like, give me the song and I'll sing it.
What about Billie Jean from Michael Jackson? No. Billie Jean is not my lover.
Oh, Billie Jean, go the eyes of one.
Whoa, damn.
So, yeah, I'm not that great.
There we
go. Yeah, even just spending more time in the shower, get out of the shower, Anthony. It's been too long. Like stuff like that. So like sacrifice like other things like that for the relationship. 100%. Like it's difficult, but I reckon that first happens. At the start of the relationship, sort of getting together, moving in. There's like a few things there as well. But just the small little things that you're like, fuck, I can't. I'll do the dishes tomorrow morning. No, it's going to be done now.
Ooh,
Stuff like that.
Yeah,
like, no, I can't want it because clean house, which 100% I get, and I'd rather do the dishes as soon as I dirty them. I can't be bothered. Yeah, I guess at the point, like just stuff like that, and it's like the little things,
just the little things.
Honestly. Yeah, and Nicole probably has like stuff against me, of course, like 100%. It's stuff that she'd be like, oh yeah, he does this and stuff like that. But yeah.
Man, I feel like I'm a bit of Dr. Phil at the moment, and I'm getting the inside scoop here. Shit,
yeah,
man.
right.
All right, dude. All right, here we go.
Yeah, there's things to look out for.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think all good relationships take sacrifice.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I'll make sure. Yeah, the watermelon. Maybe buy 2 next time. So I don't know. I don't know.
I'll always. I don't know. I'll give it one slice.
One slice.
She can buy the other one.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, man. Well, we've been going for almost an hour and a half now. I think.
Yeah, we have.
So it was a good show. I think.
Thanks to the one person that stayed on.
Yeah, that one person.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I hope you learned something. Just 2 guys chatting away.
I reckon that person's like just put the screen on and like walked out there. Probably, I don't know, getting watermelon now.
Just forgotten that it's on.
Just forgotten that it's on,
Yeah, come back. Oh, shit, that was me.
Just being called out on the thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. But thanks for having me. It was good to chat.
Good to chat.
And always good to hang out. Give me your rackets, I'll restring them.
For sure. I will definitely give you my rackets.
There we go.
For sure.
That's how you make money, guys. No people, word of mouth.
Give me your rackets.
But thanks, everyone.
Peace out.